What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Dubai. This is season 2, episode 2. So let's get into it. Y'all. So y'all know sometimes before we get into it, we get a little spicy, just a little. And I just have two things to talk about. So I talked about this first thing we're going to talk about in one of the drama videos, but congratulations are in order to Chanel Ayan. She's going to be on the 3rd season of Traitors, the US version, and I'm actually excited for her. I want to see how she's going to interact with people who aren't her castmates. The same way I was really interested to see how Tamra, I think it was Tamra, Phaedra, Sheree, and even MJ and Larsa would participate in a Traitors type setting. Like, I was impressed with the way Larsa was playing, even more impressed by Phaedra. So I wonder if Chanel is going to give us the same type of energy, or is she going to try to click up with the other housewives that are on the show, which I think is Dorinda, Dolores, and Robin, or are they not gonna like each other? I'm just interested to see how far these people go in the game. So again, congratulations are in order to Chanel. So the second thing is Lisa. So it looks like Lisa is doing her US, press run for Real Housewives of Dubai, and she was on page 6 again, and they asked her about her relationship with Ayan as well as her relationship with Stansberry. So let me play that for you, and then let's discuss.
I'm too bougie. I don't get it. I really don't get the hype. Genuinely don't.
Where do you and Caroline Stanbury stand today? Like, how are you guys?
We're cordial, like I don't have any issues with her. I didn't you know what they say, no expectations, no disappointment. I feel like I see her for who she is, slithering through, and that's enough for me. I navigate those spaces accordingly. So I feel like for me with Ayan, it's different because a lot of expectations, and so she's the only one that could truly disappoint me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And do you feel Ayan will ultimately be disappointed with the choice she made of being oh, I'm gonna be Caroline Stanbury's
the only wagons I ride, babe,
BFF, as Caroline's oh, I'm on a plane with Sergio, I'll talk to you in 3 months type of thing?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know, but I just know with me, everything I touch is gold. And over there, it looks very gold-plated and rusting. So with that said, I feel like I would want to be on this side any day. And anybody that rocks with me elevates. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know if you heard the clip in its entirety, depending on how I screen recorded it, but it came from page 6, and this is the caption that they put on top of the video. They said, RHO Dubai star Lisa Milan doesn't get the hype for a gold-plated rusting Caroline Stansberry. And then underneath, Lisa responds by saying, I said what I said. So here's the thing. I feel like a lot of the energy, because this is not the first interview I've seen where Lisa is shading Caroline Stansberry and Ayan's relationship. I know in one of my last the drama videos, or the latest drama video, she was doing an interview with Entertainment Tonight, and she basically said that the thing that she wasn't looking forward to was seeing her and Ayan get into that big fight we saw in the trailer. But she was like, at least I get to see her perspective, but Ayan is playing victim. She also said that, we can probably, as long as you don't sleep with my man, there's probably always a door for reconciliation. So it seems like Lisa is open to reconciling with Ayan. But I did another The Drama video where Lisa pretty much called Caroline Stansberry a pigeon and said she's an eagle. She said, Ayan's playing with pigeons while I'm soaring, when she could soar with an eagle. And I feel like a lot of her energy and her digs towards Caroline Stansberry, I feel like she wants to give Ayan, but because she still wants to have a relationship with her, she's kind of holding back, because I know we only 2 episodes in, but it don't even really seem like Caroline Stansberry is giving Lisa that fever the way Lisa is giving her the fever. And honestly, it could just be because Lisa is on her press run for, Dubai right now. But it's kind of giving like you pressed. And I don't think Lisa understands like she's kind of turning the tide against her, because when the trailer came out and when everyone kind of peeped the scene and saw that Stansberry and Ayan were getting cool, a lot of people were like, I'm Team Lisa. I'm Team Lisa. Ayan jumped ship to be with Stansberry. Lisa had her back, blah, blah, blah. But now with the way these interviews are coming out, I've seen a lot of people in the comments being like, she full of herself. Like, I wouldn't want to be cool with her either. Or like, she doing a lot and it don't even seem like Stansberry is checking for her. And granted, we only 2 episodes in, so as the season continues, we might see a switch up from Stansberry. But for right now, Lisa is looking pressed. And I don't know if she understands that's how she looking. All right, y'all. So the episode opens up and we are at Talene's apartment with her husband and her 2 kids. The oldest daughter's name is Gigi. She's 3 years old. And the youngest daughter, I think her name is Sienna. She is 1 year old. So, they're running throughout the house. The oldest daughter somehow got a hold of her nipple pasties. I said, girl, where'd you put them for her to get them? Like, girl, what? And, her husband, we finally meet her husband, Rafi. He kind of annoys me already. And it's kind of her fault because she described him as one of her other kids. And I hate when women do that because you're just telling me that your husband doesn't help you, that you primarily raise your kids and he does nothing. He probably doesn't even have a decent relationship with them. And I was just kind of like, girl, I hate when y'all do that. Complain to your friends, not us. Because if you're not going to leave the man, shut up about it, okay? And so we find out more backstory about Rafi. We find out that he went to college in the States. So it seems like a lot of people get their education in America, and maybe because, I don't know, our institutions might hold more weight outside globally in the world, and then they go back to where they are originally from, and maybe it makes it easier for them to get jobs. I'm not sure, because I'm like, does Dubai not have colleges? Because, for me, I'm like, if I could stay in my own country and go to college, like, I'm just wondering, and I have to pay like international fees because the tuition is different out of state, I would do that. But maybe that's not, maybe they don't have like colleges there, but I feel like they do. They a country, so maybe they got to have like a couple. As big as Dubai is, I'm thinking they at least got 3 universities, But so he went to school in Texas, and then he came back to Dubai to help with his family business. We find out that his father is like an architect, and they show like this really beautiful building that he helped build. Also, Talene lets us know that most of the golf courses you see in Dubai, like his family has helped like build and stuff. Now, she was flexing, and I'm not trying to knock her hustle with flexing or her shine, but my thing about it is I guess if you help build a country, I'm expecting you to have like old money. So I felt like maybe where they were staying was a little small. Cause I'm thinking about where Nina was staying. Like Nina and her family was in a castle in the sky in that apartment, that penthouse, where this is giving like very middle class, like upper middle class, maybe, middle class, which is nothing wrong with that, It's nothing wrong with that, but I guess the way that Talene was flexing, I was just kind of like, I'm expecting more, just a little bit, not Dollar Tree candles that y'all was trying to like give ambiance for that party at the end. So I was like, okay, girl. So she's cutting up food. We see her driver, I think his name is CB, her driver, and he's also her chef. He's helping her make little like things for the ladies to eat on, because we find out that Brooks and Sarah are coming over to her place. So we see Sarah pull up. We find out that Talene is Armenian. I think she said that last first episode, but I guess they consider Armenians like Middle Eastern as well, or they're like their cultures are very similar, so they can connect in that way. Sarah's on this healing journey. Talene is basically says, girl, the Armenian mother in me is like, It's here, girl. And pretty much I got somebody for you. And Sarah's like, girl, I'm 37. I ain't got time to play games. Don't be doing all of that with me. So then Brooks comes in and it's all like, hey, her and Talene get hyped. And I guess it's probably in the middle of the day, like maybe lunchtime or in the afternoon. And Talene is like, oh, you want a drink? And Brooks is like, put a little tequila in it. And Sarah's face is very much like she's very disproving, but it's starting, like, at first I was like, I felt like because Sarah is judgy. She's condescending and judgy, and she has a savior complex. But when she made that face, I was kind of like, made me pause for a minute, because she looked, it was a judgy face, but it was also like, I could tell like it was coming from a place of like concern, because girl, why you need tequila? We just got drunk like 2 days ago. Chill out. And so they go out and sit on Talene's balcony. We find out that they live on the Palm, so that, like, anytime you think of Dubai, they do that beautiful landscape of like the water and the palm trees. Basically, Sarah is like, girl, only the expats and the people trying to flex like they got new money be wanting to sit on the Palm. Everybody else, don't nobody want to be on no Palm. I said, okay, Sarah. But then again, Sarah is Amirati, and she's that's like anybody coming to like a locals part of town, and they be like, what you think is hot ain't hot to us. So I got where she was coming from. So while they're sitting there, they get on the subject about like how is Brooks is doing, and she's like, oh, I'm great. Sarah looking at her like, girl, no, you not. So while that's happening, we see, what's her name? We see Stansberry, Lisa, and Ayan meet up. I don't know what's up with Ayan and these ugly white gloves, but they're ugly, and I did not like this outfit she had on. They're sitting down. It looks like at like some like resort area, and so they're sitting, getting drinks, and pretty much they're talking about like, the meetup with the girls. Everybody was like, girl, we got too drunk the last time we met up. So then Ayan pretty much says that like, I'm glad it's quiet with it's just being the three of us. I can't believe it is the three of us. Like, this would have never happened. And Lisa's like, girl, you right, it never would if you wouldn't have been pushing it. But pretty much Ayan compares Talene to this African bird that squawks a lot. And I say, ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? Because Ayan, your voice can be annoying. So for you to be saying like, it's the volume, girl, the volume of you is a lot at times, ma'am. So, okay. And so she said that's what Talene was giving her. They then start talking about the whole Sarah situation, and basically they were like, I think it was the word victim and victimized that really triggered Ayan. And Lisa was like, you're not a victim, you're a survivor. And then Ayan brings up about her father, and she is really emotional in the confessional where she's like, let me be happy. Like, if I'm being silly, if I'm being goofy, let me be happy, because there was a time where I was not. And she talks about when her father was abusing her and beating on her, she was like, she goes back and forth, and she says, I have a lot inside me that I just keep bottled up. And I said, that's not healthy, and you should probably consistently go to therapy to work that out. And, even though you have qualms about Sarah, I will give her the fact that like pushing for people to go to therapy to me is important, because it is important to have somebody that is unbiased, that doesn't know you out, like that really doesn't know you, get to know you in a way to help you like process and sift through your emotions. So Stansberry was like, yeah, I don't know why she would say that. So then they go back to the whole Talene of it all. And, Stansberry was like, I don't know what's up with Brooks. I don't I feel like she threw me under the bus, and like she just wants an issue. And then they talk about how Brooks likes to like fudge, like she puts sauce on the stories that she tells. And so they do the flashback of last year when Brooks said that Caroline Stansberry said that Ayan wasn't important enough to come to her hen party. And then later on in the season, we find out that Stansberry didn't even say that. Caroline Brooks was the one that put that sauce on there. So they feel like that is probably what Brooks did to Talene. But then Lisa makes a good point where she said, well, once you and Talene talked about it, she kind of came to her own conclusion that it wasn't that big of a deal and she wanted to move forward. But, they're all just kind of like, Brooks is just on one. And Brooks is on one because she was about to start talking. They flash back to like the girl sitting down at the table, and she was about to start talking trash about Stansberry. But then Sarah's like, girl, don't do that because you just got mad at what she was doing. Have a conversation with her. And, you know, Brooks is like, for her to be talking so bad about Talene, who is a wife, who is a mother, girl, you be out in these streets too having a good time as well. So why are you talking about my friend like that? Especially, I think the thing that's probably making Brooks like harp on this is maybe the whole, like, you know, they saw her pussy, they saw Talene's, you know, wax vagina, and I don't know, you know how strict Dubai is, maybe she's trying to protect her friend's like reputation, but it's also like you can tell that there's more to this than what it is, because Brooks is really like harping on it, and it's like, it's deep. It's not even deep. It's like surface level. Yeah, it's disrespectful to be talking about this and making light and making a joke of your friend, but it's not as deep where you need to be like that angry at Stansberry Brooks. So it definitely feels like there's way more to this situation, and I feel like there was probably a buildup, and this is just what's spilt over pretty much. But it is what it is. So the next scene we have is of Ayan, her husband, and then we actually see her meeting her business partner at their like office, Ayan Beauty, which her name is Tony. So we find out that Tony and Ayan met like 15 years ago or 10 years ago at a like photo shoot. They hit it off really well, and they decided to go into partnership with each other. And here we have Ayan Beauty. Now, at first, I thought Ayan was doing a modeling agency, because isn't that what she was doing last season, where she had booked models for Lisa's Mina Rose you know, fashion show? But maybe she's doing both, because there's nothing saying you can't do both. But she kept comparing Ayan Beauty to Fenty Beauty, so of course she wants it to be on that same level, which that is a level to get to, because Rihanna is a billionaire. She making billions, okay? And she got hair products now, makeup, lingerie, sneakers. She doing her thing. Rihanna said she gonna make Fenty a name, and she making it a name. So, we're like, we see all the models. She actually has 3 Somali girls, which I think is great, and they're all different complexions. And she's talking about how she wants to instill in them like hope, because if someone would have did that for her when she was a lot younger, she would have had, like, the sky would have been the limit. And I was like, true, but I guess the sky is the limit for you now, because you're standing in who you are. You have the modeling agency, you're doing this, you're on this show. So you are standing in who you are, Ayan. So don't take that away from yourself. So it was cute. I do like Ayan in shorter hair. I think it looks way better on her. But her husband is, I guess, like the management side. Like, I guess, so Tony is the manager part, like because it says her name on here, says managing partner. So I guess she is the one doing like the advertisements and stuff like that. Ayan, I guess, is like the face of the brand. But then her husband, I guess, is the one that's doing like the financial part. Because we have a scene where all 3 of them sit down, and he was like, we need to talk about projections. We need to talk about this, that, all this like, you know, financial jargon. And you could tell like Ayan had like the 100,000 yard stare. Like, and even Tony was like, oh, she not here no more. Because Ayan was very like, sis was tapped out. She was tapped out. And so Tony ends up getting up, and we see Ayan and her husband talk, and she's telling him about the sit down that she had with Sarah. She was like, man, I could not go to sleep last night because I felt bad for the things that I said to Sarah. And he said, what happened? And she brings up the whole like victimizing thing, and how that like triggered her and it pissed her off. So she said, I said some things I probably shouldn't have said. And so she said, you know, I think I'm going to write a letter to her, because I feel like I could get my thoughts and my emotions out better in a letter, and I'm going to read it to her. And he was like, she get a letter, and we find out that Ayan wrote a letter of like the 10 reasons, or the 10 like reasons why she should marry her husband. And he was like, had you not wrote that letter, we probably wouldn't be married. And I said, oh, that's well, Is it all, or is it like, was you not gonna marry her if she didn't? But then again, everybody needs validation. But maybe it was more for herself to be like, is this who I really want to be with? But yeah, Ayan really does look good with short hair. She need to keep these short wigs. I think this wig and the wig that she had on at Talene's party are the best wigs she has had on. I don't know. I just think she looks so much better with darker hair instead of lighter hair. So next thing, we go over to Lisa's house. She's with her 3 boys and her husband. They're playing soccer and all this stuff. Last season, I did not think Lisa's husband was attractive. I don't know. I just didn't like, especially when he was talking bad about Stansbury, it just turned me off. But when they were sitting down having like their conversation about her mom coming into town, I was like, he is cute. I see why you want him, Lisa. I see why you decided I'm gonna pop out 3 kids to this man. Okay, I see it. I see he's a vibe. He's an English vibe. You know what I'm saying? So they're sitting down outside and they're talking about her mom coming into town. And at first he's like, oh my gosh, because Lisa is like, I think I want her to come live with us. But he was like, oh, I'm playing. So it seems like Lisa and mom and her husband actually have a good relationship. The only snag that they have is that Lisa was only supposed, like, the family was only supposed to be in Dubai for 2 years. It's going on for 10 years. So her mom has been missing her terribly. They're from Miami. They're also Jamaican, and in their culture, like, the grandma helps raise the kids. And, her mom really loves her kids. Lisa even says when they go and pick her up from the airport, that my mom ended up changing shifts. Like, I guess she is a nurse, or maybe she works in like administration at the hospital, but she ended up doing the night shift so she could be on the same time as like her daughter, so they could always be in, like, be able to communicate with each other. And I was like, oh, and I don't fault the lady for being like irritated with them, because if you tell me you are going on the other side of the globe for 2 years, I expect 2 years, not you adding 8 years to that and you not coming back. Because Lisa said, Dubai is my home. And she was like, this is kind of the downside of being like an expat, is that, you don't have your family readily available to you unless you go, like, unless you have the money to go see them. And I was like, wow. I think that's one of the reasons why I've never thought about like living outside of the country, because I have a good relationship with my family and I do have a lot of friends, in other states, that I feel like it would be scary, I think, not having my family like around, or being able to be with my friends whenever I like wanted to. That like, I've always been like, oh, if I did go overseas, it would probably like 5 years at the most, but I've never thought of like putting down roots and just staying there, So I feel like it does take like a certain type of person who is very like confident in themselves to like, lead and build a life in another country from their like home country, like that to me takes a strong amount of bravery to do so. So they want to convince the mom to come live in Dubai. And her husband was like, well, she young. She fly. She could have a good time going to the beaches. Mama might get her a cute little boyfriend. You never know. So we then have to sit down between Ayan and Sarah. Ayan, every walkway is a runway for Ayan, because the way she walked into the restaurant in this outfit, the top was shingle shangling, that wig was wigging. I said, okay, you better walk to your table. So she sits down. Sarah shows up, and Ayan basically apologizes to Sarah. And she was like, that wasn't the time or the place for us to have that conversation. And some of the things I said to you, I wish I hadn't said to you. So she pulls out this letter. She said, Dear Dr. Sarah. And Sarah's like, don't do that. I said, Sarah, you love it. Don't play games, girl. Don't play games. You have an ego. You love it. But the letter was actually sweet. Sarah was like, did you just write this yourself? Ayan lies and says she did, but her husband helped her. But basically, she's just like, I didn't mean I didn't mean what I said to you in the way that I said it. Like, I was just very hurt by what you said about me being a victim, that it triggered me and I wasn't open to hearing you. So Sarah takes that in. She ends up giving Ayan, I guess, like, it looked like an angel, like a little cute little figurine. And she says every time you think about it was wrong for you to open up to me, or when like your community is coming at you for, you know, for speaking your truth or whatever, think of this and know that you're an angel. And Ayan ends up getting emotional because, you know, she always giving gifts to everybody, and they hug each other. And Sarah even says in her confessional, had I known what she had been experiencing, like I wouldn't have said what I said. Like Sarah said, you know, I'm sorry that you took what I said in that way. And like, I'm like, I like the way Sarah apologized. Like she didn't really apologize for what she said because she meant what she said, because she was just like, I'm not saying that what you went through, like you've been victimizing yourself about that, because you were a victim of, you know, female genital mutilation. You was a victim of your father trying to sell you off and beating you, you know, sell you off to get married at like 12 and beating you as a young age. What I was saying was that at sometimes when you do bad things, you fall back to like, I was traumatized. You can't keep saying that. But I do like the fact that Sarah said, like, if I would have known she was going through all of that, I wouldn't have like piled onto it, because I got what Sarah was saying. It's just that like the lady was already going through it. She don't want to hear nothing else. She don't want to hear nothing else. So then they get on Brooks, and it seems like everybody likes Brooks, but it's like they don't like her at the same time. Like Sarah feels like Brooks is a good person. Ayana's like, Brooks is cool, but I don't know if she a good person. Her character speaks a lot. And Sarah's like, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt. And Ayana's like, you need to stop giving her the benefit of the doubt. Something about take the doubt out, take the doubt. I got confused and I tuned out. I tuned all the way out. This scene of Brooks and Talene meeting up at Brooks's salon. She's overwhelmed, and that's why that lady been drinking like a fish. She been drinking alcohol like a water that like a water that needs fish, like a fish like a fish that needs water. Like she's basically like stressed because they're overstaffed at the salon. She's talking to her, Brooks is talking to her GM, and she's like, why is she here? We don't need her. And he's like, I told her to come in. And he's like, well, you should have known about scheduling. And then two of the ladies at the reception desk, the girl is like, there's a leak in the ceiling in my room. So I guess she might do massages or like facials. And so Brooks is like, it's so much going on right now. It's like, it's too much going on right now. So then Talene shows up with her oldest daughter, and they're getting their feet done, and like they're massaging hands and all of that stuff. And Talene is like, if I would have had a boy, I wouldn't have gotten this opportunity to do this. And then Brooks brings up, no, I think Talene brings up, like, I felt like the final straw for you and your husband, Zoran, is when he cut your son's hair. So we find out that Brooks was allowing her son's hair to grow because she loved, like, playing in it, and I guess that was their way of bonding. And then Zoran took the little boy to go get his hair cut, and she said, after that, I was done. That was, like, the straw that broke the camel's back. And then Talene is like, I felt like that was the reason you broke up with him. But what it seems to me like, and I tweeted this out, Brooke seems like she is a very guarded and very aggressive person. And I think it is due to her relationship that she had with her husband. And I don't think she has unlearned those like defense mechanisms, because you can tell that like when she cares about you, she cares about you. Like she seems sweet, but aggressive at the same time. It's a weird combination, you know, but I do think that like she definitely needs to go to therapy, because they asked her in the confessional, like, have you been going to therapy? She was like, not really. But I need to, like, she was like, nah, I've been to one session. But you could tell that she needs to go, because she's like, I'm the calmest I've ever been. And I was like, if this is calm, I can only imagine how you were before this. Even like the lady with the reception brought some calming oil to like rub on her hands. And Brooks was like, don't wink at me. She was like, do I need it? She was like, the lady said, yeah, you do. You need to calm down. So then Talene tells Brooks that she wants to have everyone at her house, and she's going to invite Caroline Stansberry. And Brooks is just like, why? Like, and Talene is like, well, I want to get to know the lady, which to me, Talene is taking the best approach as a newbie. Like, yes, you and Caroline are really good friends, but like, you're going to have to make friends with other people if you want to be on this show. But Brooks is just like, you don't know Caroline. I know Caroline. She said that to like pretty much embarrass you and disrespect you. And I can't do the fake like smiling in that lady's face with all them damn teeth. Like And Talena's like, Brooks is loyal to a fault. And like right now, I just need her to chill. I just need her to chill. Go to Talena's house. We see her and her husband preparing for the guests. I thought it was kind of crazy that man walked in their house with a shopping cart full of alcohol and cookies. I was confused because the only time I've seen people have shopping carts at their place is if they steal them from the grocery store or like, Walmart or Target or like, a Ross or a TJ Maxx. But I was just like, why do you have a shopping cart? Maybe wherever they stay, they keep shopping carts there to help people bring in items, which is smart to do so. But I don't know. It reminded me of like, when I was in undergrad, the boys, I was over at my friend's dorm. Her dorm was co-ed. The boys' dorm, it wasn't a boys' dorm. It was a boys and girls' dorm. Hence the reason I said co-ed, Leah, duh. But they stole, at Walmart, like the electric carts for people that are like either very large and can't walk for a long time or like, disabled people or people that hurt themselves. They stole one of them carts from Walmart and were going up and down the hallway in my friend's dorm. And I remember the RAs basically threatened them over the intercom and said, you have less than 24 hours to return it or we're calling the police. And the boys were like, damn. I said, first of all, y'all do know there's cameras in the hallway. Why would you steal that? Them carts only go but so fast. The joys of living in a dorm. Living in a dorm is like sucks, but also you see the wildest stuff. I have seen the craziest stuff living in a dorm with people when you're living with your peers of your age. It's funny as hell. So she's drinking. We find out that I guess Dubai has lessened like the restraints about alcohol, because I was kind of surprised at the amount of alcohol he had, but she was like, as long as you have a license, you can even order alcohol online. I said, okay, cute. So then we have this scene of Lisa and her, like, I think I already said Lisa and the grandma, they were at the airport surprising her. She didn't know the grandkids were going to be there to pick her up as well. It was cute. The youngest one was like, what you bringing me, grandma? What you got? What you got in that bag? Open up that Louis Vuitton and give me whatever is in that bag that is mine. So then we go to Michael's house, which is Caroline Stansberry's friend. I feel so bad for Michael because you could tell that Michael want them people at his house. Like he walked into that room and he saw the explosion of like clothes everywhere. And he was like, oh, I gotta get out of my house. He was like, I need my North Face, because I guess he's probably using his spare room as extra closet space. So he was just like, oh. And I'm with Michael. I probably would have been over it because they had shoes everywhere, and they're not just in one room. Caroline has taken over 2 rooms. On top of that, they were only supposed to be at that man's house for 2 weeks. It's been 3 months. I said, if y'all don't go to no hotel, if I was Michael, I would have kicked them out after week 3. Y'all got money, go to a hotel. Cause you can't, I can't do it. I need some space. Okay. I need my space. Now we have this conversation with Sergio. Sergio irritates me because me and Sergio are around the same age. I think Sergio's like 28, 29. Like we're around the same age. Like, or maybe he's 30. Like, either way, he in his like either his late 20s, early 30s. That's the category I'm in. But I'm just kind of like, he just irritates me because I just feel like I wouldn't be acting this way if I married somebody who was divorced. You know what I'm saying? Like Yasmin is supposed to be doing this college tour in America. Cool, great. She only wants her dad and her mom to be there. Cool, great, makes sense. Those are her parents. She don't want her mom a new man with her. He over here about to like, he's having a moment, like being very much like clingy. And I'm like, that would irritate. He would make my ass itch because you need to be able to do things by yourself, sir. On top of that, that girl is 17 years old. You just got here. She does not want you having any say so or being around. She wants to be with her mom and her dad. Let that little girl have that moment. Ugh, Sergio. And then we get a flashback to Caroline's old husband, which her old husband and Sergio could be like cousins to me. It's given Caroline has a type. She has a type. She got a little type. She like a brown man, I see. And so I'm just kind of like, Let that man, like, because she ends up saying that, like, her relationship with her ex-husband is totally different with her relationship with her husband, with Sergio, because with her ex-husband, he was never really around. He was always out on trips, for work and all of that stuff. With Sergio want me to go with him everywhere. I can't be with someone like that. You would drive me mad. This is madness. This is madness. Get away from me. I just be like, you in my space. Y'all was I can't be with someone who always wants to be around. Well, no, I can't. Like, we need to be able to be in the same house doing our own things and you be cool with it, sir. That's what I'm just saying. So we flash back to Talene's house. We end up meeting her mom and dad. We find out that they originally both are from Jordan, but they both moved to the States when they were like young kids. Her dad is like an attorney. He has a practice in DC and in a practice in Abu Dhabi. So they had a home overseas, and then the mom was like, she having kids, I need to be close to my grandkids. So they've been making more frequent trips to Dubai to be with the grandkids. And her parents look cool. We end up seeing Sarah come into the house first. We then see Brooks and Sean, her cousin. Mind you, I thought that was her man at first. I was glad they put him on. I was like, he looked familiar, because I remember him being around when Brooks went to go see Phaedra last season. So Sean is her cousin. So they're really cool. Brooks is happy to see Sylvia, who is Talene's mom. So they're hugging and kissing on each other and having a good time. We then see Ayan. I think Ayan looked, out of all the outfits that she wore in this episode, this purple, it ate. I was like, she looks so pretty in this purple. So she saunters into the party, and like Ayan wants to always give gifts. She ends up giving like a Christmas candle, and Talene was like, this definitely is a re-gift. I said, it is. It is. Because who just holding on to Christmas candles? Side note, Christmas candles stank. I just want y'all to know that. They stank. Horrible. So Stansberry shows up. Talene runs and gives Stansberry, I don't say run. She's greeting everyone. She's being the hostess with the mostest. Brooks is over it. She just feels like, why are you doing all of this for her? You even see her on the side calling Stansberry a two-face, like you two-face and everything. Her cousin is like, be cool, be cool. She's like, I am cool. And I said, it's a good thing that cousin was there, because Brooks is really in her feelings, which makes me feel like there has to be more to what's going on with this situation. I feel like Brooks is making this more than what it is. Yes, but I also feel like there's something more, mainly because when Sarah made them have that sit down, she was like, I'm tired of being like the go between them. They both got issues with each other, but they're not, like, she was like, they both keep confiding in me but not talking to each other. So that makes me feel like there have been previous issues. This whole Talene situation was just like the cherry on top to this like feud of theirs or whatever. But Brooks isn't doing herself any favors, because she do look mad crazy. So she like mean mugging from the side of the room. You got Ayan and Sarah being like, Brooks, come here. And Brooks is like, Lahayim, I'm fine over here. I don't want to be over there. So then she actually gets up and goes greets Sergio and Stansberry. And, Brooks makes a comment. She was about Talene's vagina. She's like, girl, is your vagina going to make an appearance? She said, and Talene's like, she's ready. And like just rubbing it in that like, girl, you was talking about that girl's coochie and we going to keep talking about it. But then we have this moment where you can tell Brooks is obviously drunk. She's hugging all over Sarah. She's hiking up her leg, and Sarah's like, She was like, calm down, girl. Because Brooks is like, you smell so good. You just smell so good. And then we find out that like Brooks is stressed and overwhelmed with her business. Like Sarah ends up saying that like she's been working, like she will be at the office till 2 a.m. and then go back to work. So I think she's compensating with the stress of her business and wanting it to be successful, and then being overworked with drinking a lot, pretty much. Like like Sarah said, that's not the way to cope, and it's not. It really isn't. So then we have a conversation that's happened between Ayan and Stansberry, where Ayan is like, what happened between you and Brooks? Because y'all used to be so close. Like, what's up with what's going on right now? And Stansberry is like, girl, I don't know. She doing so much. And then you hear Brooks say, Stansberry is over there with Ayan like a baby with a tit in her mouth or whatever. Like she's so clinging on to her. And then Stansberry even says that the way Brooks is acting is pushing her close to Ayan. And so Stansberry's like, I don't want to deal with whatever she got going over there, like with Talene and Brooks, because they're like having a fun time. They're like, ooh, they're just having fun. Like, I didn't get that part where I'm like, they're at Talene's house, they're she could be drunk at her house having a good time, but I guess Stansberry is like, that's too much and that's not how I get down. Like, I'm not gonna be a lush, but they're just having a good time. So then Brooks brings up the whole thing about like, normally when Talene and Brooks hang out, they're always drunk by the end of the party. They're not sober, and normally to get a sober Brooks when Talene is around, you got to come hours before the party starts to have a conversation with her. So then we have this interaction where Talene decides to bring over one of Rafi's friends to talk to Sarah, and Sarah is like, oh my God. Brooks is like, ooh, girl. Like I said, Talene decides to introduce, I guess the man's name is Daniel, to Sarah. First of all, Daniel is not Sarah's type, because Sarah was like, I hate when people do that. So I understood where Sarah was coming from. Do not introduce me to nobody. Like, don't do that. So then Sarah pulled Sergio to the side and she was like, she's trying to introduce me to him and I don't want to talk to him. And Sergio's like, I'll be your man for the night. I was weak. And Sarah was like, I don't need nobody introducing me to anybody. So then we have this scene of where it's Ayan, Sarah, Stansberry, Sergio, and Daniel. And like, they're making pleasantries, but they're talking about all her tattoos. And he's like, oh, where'd you get them from? And she was like, oh, around the world. And then Sergio was like, I thought he asked about her boobs. And then Stansberry says, Sergio thought he said, where'd you get your boobs from? And then Ayan was like, she got them done. She got them done. I said, girl. And then Sarah's like, she says something in her native tongue where she's like, I want the floor to open up and swallow me whole. I was like, I know that was awkward. So she's like, I'm done. Let me get up. So then we see Brooks go talk to Stansberry where she was like, you haven't really been nice to me. And Stansberry is like, pot me kettle, because you ain't been nice to me either. You've been real mean to me. So she was like, let's have a conversation. So then Sarah takes Brooks and Stansberry outside on the balcony to have a conversation. And she was like, I'm sick of being in the middle of y'all. Y'all really just need to talk things out. So Brooks ends up being like, I feel like you've been kind of funny with me. And then Stansberry was like, I can say the same about you. And so Stansberry was like, well, why did you tell Talene that I didn't like her? And Brooks is like, she basically like that. She really said it like she drunk. She was like, I said that you said that that you didn't like. I told her that you didn't like her. She was like, yeah, that's what she told me. So Brooks promptly gets up and gets Talene to sit down. And Talene was like, well, the way you relayed the information to me once she sits down was like she was talking trash about me, being like, that is not like, that's who you want to hang out with. That's not who we hanging out with. And then they show a flashback to where they had more of a conversation where Talene is telling Stansberry like, yeah, that is what she told me, that you pretty much was like saying that I'm not the caliber a person that you should be hanging out with. And Brooks is like, oh, so this what we doing? And Talene is pretty much like, there's my vagina, this is my vagina. If I'm okay with it being discussed and I'm moving past it, I think Brooks should be able to move past it. And Talene is like, I'm cool with it. I'm going to move past it. It ain't that deep to me anymore. And then Brooks is like, I've been your friend for 10 years. Like, I'm not going to take someone talking negatively about you. Like, I love you to death. Like, I'm just not going to take it. And Stansberry is looking at her like, girl, I wasn't even talking negatively about her. So then Sergio hears them yelling back and forth. And he's like, I don't like this energy around her. And I want Sergio to go away. That lady is about to be 50 years old. She can handle this conversation. You don't have to be attached at the hip with her. Fall back. Nobody else's husband was there, Sergio. Fall back. I get it. You want to protect your queen, but fall back, bro. So then, we end up seeing Sarah and Ayan come out to sit down with her. Ayan kind of irritated me. Not kind of, she did irritate me. Because you can't say, oh, it was a joke, and tell people to stop being sensitive and laugh at it when you were pissed, like very angry about what Sarah said, and it seems like you took that out of context. So if you can be sensitive about the things that are being said about you, although that situation is a lot more serious, like it's deep, like what you went through was wrong and it was traumatic, you can't dictate how other people feel, just like you don't want them to dictate how you feel. So it is what it is. So they're arguing back and forth, and Brooks is really upset. You know, Sarah is just like, I'm not about to have a conversation with Jabba the Hutt. Like, she can't keep her eyes open. Brooks is leaning back and forth. Like, there's nothing productive is going to come from this conversation. So Brooks, like, so Stansberry gets up and she's like, I'm out of here. Sergi on her, I guess, basically leave. And then Brooks ends up calling her a see you next Tuesday and a bitch. And so Talene ends up saying, like, this is more, there's more to this situation. And maybe it's because of what Brooks is going through with the business, that like she's real sensitive and she's ready to blow up on somebody, and maybe Stansberry is her target. But you even see Ayan trying to talk to Brooks. So we know it's going to go up next episode because they have a party. I guess they're having like a housewarming party, and Stansberry doesn't invite Brooks. So it is what it is. But you can definitely tell that there's like, I think my assessment about Brooks is she is aggressive. Okay. She is aggressive. She is a lot, but I still see like a kind person in her. And I know a lot of people don't, but I still see that in her, because the way she loves her son and the way she treats like even the people that she works with, she's very like nice and kind towards. So I don't feel like she's a bad person. I just feel like the way she's showing up on this show is not the best. It ain't the best. Like, you lashing out at somebody you said was your friend and your homie and like your confidant and all of that stuff. And you also drinking too much because you stressed about your business. Girl, go to therapy. Go to therapy. Y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely hop down in them comments below. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.